All right, y'all. Part, I think it's 8. I'll check and see. Back on the S10. Where I left y'all off last time, you saw us starting on the dash swap. That wasn't planned. That was just kind of a late night. Let's see if we can make this work. And it looks like it's going to work. We're going to put a bunch of work in. But I want to start this video by saying I keep getting a ton of inquiries about bags, body drops, doing all kind of stuff. I see you. I see y'all, I promise. Right now I'm swamped. I've got this truck that I'm trying to finish every free day that I have, and I don't have very many. And I've got less than 100 days right now to have this truck done. So after mini nats, which is in April, I'll be wide ass open on taking in customer work as fast as I can get it in and out. But for right now, I'm trying to get this done. I've got that Astro van y'all keep seeing in the background. I got to do it. I finally got that black dually out of here last week. I've just been busy, and this is, I know customer stuff pays more than personal stuff, but this has got to be done. Saying that, I appreciate everybody that's hit me up, but sorry, I can't get you in right now. I'm trying, and if I've already talked to you about it, then I'll get you in when that's just as fast as I can. But all right, that's enough of that. So back on the S10, I got a bunch of parts in. I spent a lot of money, and that's what it takes to get these things done sometimes. My plan was to have this truck painted for mini nats. I was going to have the chassis done, chassis painted, suspension powder coated, interior done, and the truck painted. I've come to the realization that that paint job is not going to happen. So this truck, the paint on it's pretty rough, the roof's rusted, but I don't care. I love this truck. I've had this truck like 4.5 years. It's looked just like this, and I've just been mobbing it. So for the last 3 to 4 years that I've owned this truck, it had a stock hood on it that was primered. This truck had a tan hood on it when I got it, and right after I got it, I run into the front of the hood with a tractor and bent the whole front of the hood in. So my buddy Jason Stevens gave me a hood off his truck, and I just primed it. I put it on. I said, oh, I'll paint it in a couple weeks. Well, a couple weeks turned into 3.5, 4 years later, and it still wasn't painted. So when I bought the blue parts truck that I pulled all the airbags off of, that truck had a 4-inch cow hood on it. It's right there in the background. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I put it on, went to Tractor Supply, found some tan paint, just painted it, just spray paint. Looked good, nice, like great. The whole center of the hood had been cut out for, I guess, engine clearance on something with a 350 in it or small block in or whatever. So it was really aggravating to pop the hood because you had to like pop the front and then reach around the back of the cow and pick up on it so it didn't hit the wiper cow. I ain't like that. And then I went through all the work to drop the motor to keep a stock hood. So my plan was to paint the primered hood whenever I painted the truck. Well, now the truck's not going to, I don't have time to get the truck painted. I kind of give up on that dream. So I scrolled around on Facebook Marketplace the other day, and up by Dawson, I found a guy selling some S10 parts. So I'm clicking through the pictures. Dude has a stock, tan, same color hood, and wiper cow. My wiper cow had this big antenna on it. I mean, it was huge. I don't know if you ever paid any attention. And it had caused a big rust spot around it. So I bought the hood and the wiper cow, and I bought a stock gauge cluster that we could cut up to make fit this 66 dash. And I want to kind of experiment with it before I cut my good gauge cluster up. So I got a hood. That took a whole lot of stress off of me trying to paint the truck. Now I have a matching hood. So fabulous. Next, I got carpet in. I bought some tan carpet from stockinteriors.com. I've been buying carpet from them for years. It's always perfect when you take it out the box. It fits great. I custom ordered this without the little rubber pad that goes up under your feet. I told them just leave that off because when you raise the transmission tunnel up, that sometimes kind of wants to move over towards the transmission tunnel and it don't look right. So just order it without it. And also, my vintage air come in this week. I didn't know if I was going to have the funds to put that on the truck while it was apart this time, but with doing the dash swap, I just didn't want to put the dash in and then end up air conditioner not fitting. So I went ahead and bought the AC stuff. When I open all that and start putting it in, I will share part numbers on everything with you. So if you have a bagged S10, body dropped S10, this system looks like it's going to work phenomenal. and it works with the stock AC compressor. There was a gentleman on the bag board that gave me all the part numbers, and I will look his name up and I will tell you, and I will give you thanks, sir, because everything that you sent me looks like it is exactly what I need for this truck. So I took a $1,500 chance on that and just ordered the parts that he told me, and he was spot on. And I can't remember your name, but I will look it up and I will give you credit for that, sir. But right now we're working on the firewall. I don't know if you can see that right there, but I've already started the wheel tubs on this side. I got it lined over all the way to the edge of the fender, and I'm gonna keep working on this before I show you the results. I want to get it finished, and then I will show you what it looks like. So appreciate y'all checking us out again. I know this was a long ass intro, 6 minutes so far. So appreciate you being patient with us. All right, so me and Chandler's out here tonight, and I got the wheel tub in, and I'm making me a template here out of cardboard to shave the firewall. This hole's got to stay. That's where the main harness right here goes inside the truck. So we're gonna leave that. We're just gonna shave right up to it. We'll weld these last couple holes up there, but there is there's a couple big holes. Well, this hole, and then here, the way I did it, we're gonna knock both those out in one panel, and then we're gonna weld them on the inside. They'll be completely sealed out here, so no moisture or water is gonna get in there to them. We kept the, there was a bolt. We kept the rain gutter, and that panel is going to come out to here, so any water that goes in here can run down here, and we left all this open. This is where the fresh air vent was. That's going to get welded up from the inside and seam sealed inside and out the best I can. It's kind of way up in there. It's kind of hard to get to, but we're going to get that sealed up. That way any water that goes into the wiper cowl still has a place to go. We just welded this up around here to seal the tub, and then that'll be welded on the inside, like I say, and then the water. And all this will be seam sealed when we're done. But I made this tub go down like this, and once the pinch weld is gone, this will sit almost on the ground. And I'll throw the fender on in a minute and show you what it looks like. It actually butts right up to the inner fender. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about wheel tubs in the front yet, but right now we're just worried about this firewall so we can get this cab back off. Be paint time then. Yep. Well, be body work time.
Body work time.
All right. Show y'all a little bit of there what we're doing and keep on rolling with it. We might bead roll designing that, or we might just weld a smooth piece of metal in. I ain't made up my mind yet. All right, y'all. Here's what I got so far on the firewall. I made this panel to cover up all the holes. Like I said, I welded on the inside too, but it'll be welded all the way around on the outside, so there's no way no moisture is going to get in there. I left this part just kind of blank because the AC lines are either going to run in here or here. I'm not sure which one. Here I think is going to actually be too high. It's going to be in the wiper cowl, so it's probably going to be over in this area. I've got this nice little billet bulkhead to go in there, but I got all this tacked up. I got my fender. It comes all the way over to the edge of the factory fender, and then here I didn't go over quite so far because when I build my inner fenders, they're going to butt up to that, so you won't be able to see in there anyway. But I don't know if I have those done before we go to mini nats, but I'm going to try. But I got this panel tacked in. Come back tomorrow, finish welding it out. I've got to come in and take a little bit of metal off, like right here, and just final fit it before I weld everything. But all in all, it went pretty good for one night's work. All right, so I got my firewall tacked in, and that's as far as I went with it so far, because I want to mock up the AC stuff under the dash and make sure all that's going to work and jive together. So the main part of this vintage air setup is a part number 68000-VUZ-A, which is a compact Generation 2 AC unit with defroster. I still haven't looked that guy's name up on the backboard, but I will before this video is over. So I bought this, and one of the things that he said to buy was the generic universal bracket kit to mount it. There's a third bracket that's already mounted to the compressor. I was playing with it before I started filming, and these two don't look like they're going to do me any good. But this bracket is pretty nice. It bolts to the back and the top of the unit here. But I'll show you this unit. It's really not big at all. Super nice. We put vintage air in my dad's Chevelle, and that stuff will freeze you out of there. So I know this is what I want to go with. It's kind of expensive. I don't remember an exact number, but I want to say with tax and shipping, it was a hair over $1,400 for the setup that I got. I will put all the part numbers on the screen before this video is over. I probably won't get the whole system installed, but I can at least show you what I've put in so far. So this, what I'm gonna do is I don't want a bunch of bolts, the heads of bolts on my firewall. So I'm probably gonna put this where it needs to be, and then weld a bolt to the firewall on the inside, and then just slide this over and put a nut on it. That way, all the mounting hardware is on the inside. I don't have a bunch of holes and a bunch of the heads of bolts. It takes 2 people to install, so I'm just gonna tack it. My welder's already drug out. It won't take that much more work. But this kit has 3 outlets for the AC compressors, or for the AC vents, and then 2 for the defroster. Lucky for me, I don't have it here. It's over there. The 66 dash that I plan on putting in here has 2 defroster vents made into it. Those look like they're going to work fine. So I had to order 3 more vents. I don't remember the part number. I got them off Amazon. They were like $25 a piece. They got here yesterday, and I opened them up, and they're kind of small. I was kind of expecting bigger, and they don't move. So I'm not sure I'm going to be happy with them. But for right now, that's what I got. That is not included in the $1,400. So I had another $75 in 3 air conditioner vents. So right at $1,500. When it's 104 in June and I'm driving this thing and the windows are up and I'm cold, it's worth it. So I'm gonna get this kind of mocked up and kind of show y'all what I did. And I'm not gonna show y'all me in there struggling with it. I'm by myself out here, so kind of holding it and marking it and doing all that stuff is kind of a handful. And my buddy, it's Friday night. My buddy's gonna be over here in a little while, and we'll see what we can get knocked out this weekend. I got a truck I got to lower for John this weekend, OBS, and I got to do that at some point. So I'm gonna juggle the 2 and get it done as fast as I can. Is it cooled off?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Some.
Keep load.
A little bit more.
Still out here, Chandler's out here putting a new tune in his Ranger. He's trying to get that running so he can drive to supper tonight. But we got this AC box mocked up. We just bent us a piece of tubing. There was an existing hole right here in the wiper cowl. That's where the vacuum hose went out to the fresh door vent. We just utilized it. We welded a bolt inside this tube. Got a nut on the firewall side. Over here, we just took a piece of angle, welded it to the firewall, made a bracket, and then we used that bracket that came with it. And we welded a stud here, but we ended up not using it. The original bracket that I bent here was too flimsy. It was letting it flop. Also, this probably going to try to tie the bottom of the dash in to keep the bottom of the new dash from flapping. And when we do, we're going to triangulate this up so it'll be braced here and here, kind of minimize the flex. It'll still move just a hair if you push on it, but I know over time, going up down these roads, it's going to flex. So we're trying to minimize that. We test fit the dash. Everything seems to fit. That's one major hurdle done. The next major hurdle is figuring out where we're going to do with all these lines. And me and Dan's looking at, I think we're going to come off here and go around the box and go out right there somewhere. That way it'll be real low on the firewall. Somewhere probably in this area right here. And this is the bulkhead that I have. I'll give you, there's your part number, 386600-MBA. Vintage air, very nice piece. So we'll have it in there somewhere like that. I'm not gonna open it yet till I get ready to put it in. So. And now I gotta get in there and take all this back out so I can start welding this up. I've got to weld this panel on. I just got it tacked. I didn't want to weld it till make sure the AC stuff was gonna work. So ta-da. All right, so the bulkhead that I got, I showed it to you just a minute ago. It's 386600-MBA. It is a inline number 6 bulkhead. And then I also ordered a 4-way bulkhead fitting kit, which is 35704-VUD. And this is what it looks like assembled. And you can put these any side that you need to make them fit. But the way mine is, this is going to be under the box, so we need the lines to come off and loop up to the box. So that looks like it's going to be the best way for me. Got 2 coolant hoses here. You just take these off, slide your coolant hoses over, put your clamps on, and then these have to be crimped. And we're just going to get in here and see if we can figure out where we're going to mount them at. Gives you directions somewhere right, I don't remember where they're at. They're right here somewhere. You drill 4 7/8 holes in that, and it gives you a template so that you get them perfect. And just drilling new holes in the brand new firewall. Oh joy. All right, show us your modeling skills. Face only a mother could love. All right, so we figured out our location for the bulkhead. We taped it up here, and then we took a punch, marked the center of our holes, and that one's gone. Good punch. And then we're going to drill this out to 7/8 is what the direction says. So I got my handy dandy, very crappy Harbor Freight drill bits that I got for Christmas. And I'm gonna start drilling holes. Putting on time lapse because it's probably gonna take, well, nah, it's thin sheet metal, it shouldn't take too long. Yeah, that's true. Alright, so I'm over here. I got that side pretty well. Hold on, I didn't even show you. Hold on. Got the bulkhead in for the AC stuff. Got the wheel on. We went ahead and just trimmed the fender enough to get the fender back on. And the AC stuff is mounted. I think I showed you that already. Yeah, bent this tube, made a mount, blah, blah, blah. Alright. So, fun stuff. We're going to get started on this driver's side. And there's a rain gutter on this side, just like the other side that you cut out. It's open right here at the bottom. That's where the water from your wiper cowl comes out. My problem is, where the wiring harness here hooks up, I don't want to be able to see that. So, I worked real hard to keep the parking brake on this thing. And now we're at the point where I'm going to cut it off. So I'm going to remove this parking brake, as bad as I don't want to. I'm going to do it because on the inside of the truck, I need this space to mount my fuse box over here. So my wiring harness goes out the side behind the fender. So I'm about to pull all that out. Yay. All right, y'all, we over here doing a driver side firewall tub. We had some visitors in the shop today. Whoa. Turn around. Hey. Turn around. Whoa. Got them guys over here. Oh, whoa. Snuck in here. Kyle, Donovan, Brian, Dawson's here practicing bead rolling so he can get ready to do his bed.
I didn't figure y'all needed no introduction on mine.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who y'all are.
So, me and Dan's out here working on firewall. Who? Yeah.
Brandon Carter who? Damn, you a full government name and shit.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna keep on with firewall and see if we can get that gigantic hole right there welded up. All right, y'all. So it's Saturday night. It's about 11 o'clock. We closed down. We shut the shop down earlier tonight. Me and Dan, Dawson was here most of the day. Chandler came over. He got done detailing cars today. He had 3 or 4, and he had to drive 45 minutes to do a couple of them, and he was busy most of the day. But we closed it down so me and KK could go on a date. One got us a steak, or I got a steak. She got chicken. She don't eat steak, or she can't eat seafood. She's allergic to it. So she's a cheap date. So it's chicken fingers usually. So, it's 11 o'clock. We just watched Dave Chappelle's new special, so I'm good and laughed up, and I ain't ready for bed. So I told her I was going to come out here and work on my firewall a little bit. I got the wheel tub in. I got the panel that comes over to the fender. I got the bottom piece tacked in. And I just got to make the one panel that goes up here, and I'm going to work on that tonight. Try to get it tacked in, get it built, get it tacked in. I bead rolled the passenger side, but this is just going to be a real small panel, so I don't think I'm going to do any bead rolling on it. I may, I don't know. We'll get it cut and see what it looks like and go from there. The square plug where the wiring harness goes in was right here. We're moving that. I cut it out yesterday. It's inside the truck, or I would show you what it looks like. It's just a square. That's where your fuse box mounts on the inside, and then all your wiring harnesses on the outside mount to it. If you got an S10, you know what I'm talking about. It's actually going to be behind the motor. There's a plug hole on the firewall where a wiring harness run through for the AC. So all that went away. So now I have a hole there. So it's a really good spot. I'm going to mount it right where that hole was. Just going to cut my square out, weld that square in, and then when I pull the cab back off, we'll grind it, make it look really good, and then do all the body work and get the firewall ready to paint or bed liner. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. It's at least going to get primed so it doesn't rust, and then I'm probably going to get some of that tenable bed liner and put some tan in it and spray it and make it look like the rest of the truck. I think that'll still look good and do what I want it to do as far as making the sound go down a lot. But yeah, I got a lot of work to do on the body work side of it, because I got a panel here, a panel here, a panel here, the original firewall here, and another panel here, and I got to make all that smooth on both sides. That side, the majority of the firewall got covered up with that big panel, so that's going to be good. This panel, like I said, on the other side, it's almost going to sit flat on the ground when the pinch is cut off and the truck's laid out. So that side, I put the wheel on, I laid the truck out on stands, and I love the way it looks because the tire stops like here, and you can see all in there, and it looks really good. So I'm kind of excited. That's one of the biggest pet peeves I have about my paint truck. So when it's laid out, you can just see through the fender wells. And I've been going to build panels for that for 2 years now, and I haven't done it yet. So I'm kind of on a time crunch, but I'm also not going to skimp on stuff like that, because I don't want to have to do it again when I, get this point where I want to make this truck super nice. I want to do it before Minneapolis. It's just not going to happen. So all the stuff that I can still make nice and not have to redo, I'm going to do that. So, like I say, I'm excited about the air conditioning, the vintage air. I'm excited that the firewall's almost done. I wanted to keep the parking brake, and with that plug going behind the motor, I could still put it in, and I may still put it in. I pulled it out last night, but I may end up sticking it back in. The problem with putting it back in is there's really no way to run the cable through this firewall where it mounts and make it look good, because I want all this to look really slick whenever I get done. So just giant, big, ugly cable coming out of the firewall going right above the top of the tire. It's not the look I'm going for. So, all right, that's enough rambling. I'm gonna get back to work.
Money when I'm bored. Watch the money hit the floor. Make it rain, make it pour. I count money when I'm bored. Watch the money hit the floor. Make it rain, make it pour. In my house, don't need no tour. It's just me and the fam. 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 Yeah, yeah. It's just me and the fam. See my little Tay-Tay, that's my hype girl, that's my mascot. Little ones go for hours and some hours till we pass out. Stay inside the house, turned up with them racks out. Stay inside the house, turned up with the racks out. Wow. If I got it, they got it. Fairly strong, they solid. For them empty my pockets. If I got it, we got it. Foundation been solid. Taking off like a rocket. Yeah, I count money when I'm bored.
Alright, so here's what we ended up with. It's just like the other side. The panel goes all the way down to the bottom of the fender, and it'll be almost on the ground. This comes over, comes right up on the inside of the fender well, all the way up. It's not a literal like touching, but it fits really close. It's actually, it might be touching a little bit at the top, but with my eye, it looks like there's a little bit of a gap. I didn't want it touching because I didn't want it going down the road. So, yeah. Right here, I got a little bit of a lip that I'm going to have to fill in with body filler or fiber strand probably is what I'm going to end up using. But it is a little lower, this piece, the original firewall piece, than the tub. That thing was like U-shaped when we started, and we just kind of pushed it around to the bottom of the tub and tacked it. And there's a little bit of a lip there, but it's a firewall. So it ain't like we welded a roll pan on and we got to cake it with 1/2 inch of Bondo. That'll take very little. So this comes up, I'm going to mount that. Probably going to mount it over here, use this hole on that side, and move it over a little bit that way. Just pop a new hole in it and then weld that hole up. That's my plan for right now. But all in all, I think my firewall turned out pretty good for a couple days worth of work. And, now this side I got a lot more welding to do on it. I still got to go all the way around this perimeter of this. The tub is welded in completely, and I've also got the sides and the bottom piece in. If y'all give me just a minute, I'll throw the other wheel on, show you what it looks like laid out through the fender well. I love the way it looks, so I'm really happy with that. I'll show you in just a second. Alright, so show you what I was talking about through the fender well. So when you look, when the truck's laid out and you're going to see it, you're going to see a nice smooth firewall behind it that goes all the way to the ground. Because if you look at it, once that pinch is gone, that's going to sit right at the ground. I know this is nothing new in the truck scene, but I just want it clean. I want it to look good. I was kind of thinking about building something up here in the front too. Not sure yet. Eventually I would like to. And can we take a minute to admire the disrespect of these freaking billet wheels? They are filthy. But got that side done. Got this side done. Let's see if I can get that to stay up. Got clearance there. It's actually really close to the brake booster. I didn't realize it was that close. But that's just a little ear I can trim off. And this one's the same way. When you look through there, it's just smooth panel all the way to the ground. And I love it. So, one step closer. We can actually mark something off the board now. Wheel tubs are done, minus body work and whatnot. But I actually forgot to trim this fender before I put it back on, but it clears already, so that was good. Had to trim this one yesterday to get it back on. The tire was hitting it in several spots. So. Also, this side doesn't go as low as this side because of that shock mount that we modified for the clutch. So this tire is actually a little bit higher than that tire because of that. This shock bottoms out before this one. So with it being on the blocks, it lets it go up higher. But once you put it on the ground, it'll lay out level. So if you notice it's leaning, don't freak out about that. Can we just take a minute to look at this thing though? I know there's a million body dropped S10s, but this one's mine, and I love it. All right, so next up, I got the firewall finished up earlier, and it's about 1 o'clock in the morning now. I'm still wide awake. I'm pumped up. Want to keep working. So, I got a spare gauge cluster when I bought the hood and the wiper cowl from the guy the other day. So, all right, this is what the factory cluster looks like. It's got this curved piece of glass on it. You know how, if you got a first gen S10, you know what it looks like in the dash. So we took this one apart. We took the glass off of it. It's right here. And we took the little body saw and we just cut it and made it flat. And I managed to break it right here. I was trying to drill a hole in it so I could get my body saw in there and start at the joint. Instead, I broke it. So I know not to do that when I cut my good one. So I just started this in. I think Dawson or Dan, one of them was, I think it was Dan, was holding it while I cut it. And when I do this on my good one, I know that one works. Everything on it works. This one probably worked fine, but I give a dude $40 for it, so I could cut it up. What I want to do is, once I get it cut, you can see this is a little higher. I'll come in with the little air grinder and just make it as smooth as I can. And then I'm going to go find a gray color that'll match this, take this off, and then I'll just repaint it and make it look like it's supposed to. And then I want to go find a piece of thin plexiglass like this, and I want to cover it back up. So I just want to cut a piece that'll fit here, and I can drill a few holes in it, and if it overlaps, it'll be fine, because all this is going to be hid behind a piece of sheet metal. So I've got this thing kind of mocked up. I figured out where I need it. There's a little tab right there. So I've been hooking it there and pulling it down till it drops down, and then coming a little bit more. And that fits, and I'll check it again, obviously, before I build tabs. But that fits perfectly between this. It cuts the very top of the gauge cluster where I cut it flat, and the very bottom is cut. And my plan is, I'm just going to clean some of this rust up and make a tab that comes off here, where I can put a bolt in it. Same thing here, bolt. Same thing here, bolt. Same thing there, bolt. This piece is removable. So if I ever need to take this out, I can take that loose, reach in here, take the bolts out, which will probably be pain in the butt. But like I said, this dash is also going to be removable. So this will be bolted to the dash if I actually need to get it out. And I've owned this truck like 4.5 years, and I've never had a need to take the gauge cluster out, except when I'm doing this body drop. So, but I do want to make it serviceable. So if I need to, I can pull probably be 6 or 8 bolts on the dash and pull the dash down and get to the back side of it. Should be fairly simple. But that's my idea that I have right now. But also I want to make some sheet metal that'll bolt in here that goes over to the edge of the gauge cluster on the face side. And my reasoning for that, you know, you got big holes here on both sides. I can do that, but I'm swapping to AccuAir E-Level on this truck. I sold this airlift setup that's on here now to my buddy Javier. He's got a 2017 crew cab that he's wanting to bag, and he's waiting on parts to come in from Infamous. So we'll bring that to you, you know, sometime this year. But he bought the airlift setup off of it, and I've got an E-Level setup to go back on it. The only thing I was missing was a VU4, and I've got it on the way. Kevin ordered that for me this week. It'll be here soon. But right now, I just want to get this mounted and build my little panels. And like I say, they're going to basically go up to the edge of this gauge cluster, and then I want them to screw in here. I still got the screws that come out of it, and I got 4 screw holes there, and they'll go over. But with the E-Level, with the airlift setup that was on it, all your gauges are in the controller. The E-Level doesn't have any gauges. So I'm going to put a 2 1/16 gauge probably right here if it'll fit. And that way it'll be right in front of me next to the gauge cluster where I can look at it. And then I've got, my truck has a rocker switch headlight. I'm going to either try to retrofit that into the dash or do away with it and put a pull style, like an old school headlight knob here that twists, you know, and does your dome light and all. So I just got to figure all this stuff out. And that way I still got factory gauges, the mileage is still right, the speedometer's right, the gas, everything's right. It works just like it did before I took it apart. So, wish me luck. All right, so here's what I've come up with. I took the original surround, I cut me some pieces of metal, and they bolt in like factory. And I've got the gauge cluster. Well, it ain't perfectly centered right a second because it's just sitting there. But there's a line basically everywhere that the sheet metal or the metal's going to be. We'll just get all that square. But all the mounts for the gauge are going to be welded to this piece. But this is kind of an overview of what it's going to look like. It's just stock S10. We filled in the gaps. And it should go, this will actually be a little bit farther back because I got to put a piece of plexiglass or something in front of it. Keep all the dirt and dust and junk out. And I mean, as you can tell, this gauge cluster's falling apart. But you get a general idea of what I'm going for. And like I say, I want to put a air pressure gauge one side or the other if I can. I think that would be the best place for it instead of just drilling a random hole in the dash or or whatever. We still got to figure out somewhere to mount a radio in this thing. Got some speakers today from Dan. Got me some Pioneers that come with some little brackets to mount them under the dash. So we're probably going to mount it under the dash, pointing towards the floor for right now until we can get in there and build something different. But it's about 2 in the morning now. I'm probably fixing to call it a night. Getting kind of late, but just want to show y'all what we did. What I'm working on here is the dash steel. I went to Ace Hardware and I just took this original cover up there and I said I need something about that thick. So they gave me a 1/8 inch piece of plexiglass or Lexan or whatever you call it. I don't know what you call it. Just clear acrylic. So it might not even be acrylic. I don't know. Anyway, regardless, and it come out of the scrap pile. So I actually got it for free, which is hard to beat. So I got me a piece of cardboard here cut, and this is going to sit right inside all these. And here's my idea. So I'm going to epoxy it to these 2 pieces on the back side. That way it'll be removable. I can unbolt this side and the whole thing will come out. This bezel comes out separate. Or if I need to take the bezel out, these will come with it, and then I can take them loose from the bezel. But the gauge cluster is going to stay mounted in the dash part itself. So basically, the factory, this is mounted to the gauge cluster. Mine, it's going to be mounted to the dash, and it's going to be right up against the face of it. Not quite as sealed, I guess is what you say, as the factory stuff, but it's what I got. So, and I could put autometer gauges and all that stuff in it, but everything on this gauge cluster works. Speedometer works, gas gauge works, all the dummy lights, everything works like it's supposed to. So I want to keep that. The mileage is right. I mean, this truck's, for an 89 model, it's got 156,000 miles on it. It had 137 when I bought it. And I would like to keep the mileage going on it. So this is what I've come up with. And I'm going to cut this piece and get it ready to put in there. And we'll go from there.
Watch the money hit the floor. Make it rain, make it pour. In my house, don't need no tour. It's just me and the fam. 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 Yeah, yeah. It's just me and the fam. Yeah, I love you too. Yeah, I love you too.
All right, so what you saw, me and my little one there, come around here where they can see you. The piece of clear plastic that I showed you earlier, we cut it to fit on the back side. And I think the easiest way to mount this is going to be, there's going to be no pressure on it whatsoever. So I'm probably just going to 2-part epoxy it to the back of this metal, like I said, where to pull off. But the airlift setup that I had, the gauge, the controller shows you all the tank pressure and your pressure in your airbags. The Acura that I'm swapping to, did you know that?
No.
We're swapping to Acura. It doesn't have gauges. So I at least want to run a tank gauge. That way I can monitor that, just know how much pressure is in the tank, make sure. If there's a problem with the compressors, I want to know about it before I go to pick my truck up, leaving a restaurant, and I don't have any air. So I had a couple of these KP dual needle gauges left just laying around. So I'm going to drill a hole. Pick this thing up and show you. I'm going to put a gauge here. And then I'm also going to put another gauge over here. This is going to be a coolant temp gauge. This truck's never had one. And with swapping to electric fans and get rid of the clutch fan and all, I just want to be able to monitor the coolant temp. So I'm going to have the main gauge cluster, and then I'm going to have airbag gauge on one side and a coolant temp gauge on the other side. And once all this is done, I'm going to pull this bezel out with these 2 pieces. They're probably going to be like a matte black, like a flat black. And then the dash is going to be the tan that's on the interior. It's a darker color than the outside. So Chandler's been able to match that. So that way we can paint the dash same color as the inside, and then we're going to redial the door panels and everything. So I'm trying to get all this stuff figured out before I mount the dash, because I want to make sure it's all going to work before I go through the effort to put the dash in the truck. So for the most part, we got it figured out.
Excuse you.
And Kaki's home. We're about to go say hey to her.
And eat Chick-fil-A.
And eat. Ta-da. All right, y'all. So I got my gauge cluster mounted. I went ahead and I had 2 air gauges, so I went ahead and stuck them in there. This one will actually be a temperature gauge when I get to that point. And they're not straight, of course, but they're in there. And the gauge cluster is mounted, and I got my piece of clear plastic over it so that it kind of looks somewhat, factory. Turn this thing over and show you how I mount it. All right, so what I did is I just welded 4 tabs straight to the sheet metal. Regular bolts. The head of each one of these bolts is welded, so all you got to do is pop the nut off. The gauge cluster comes off. These are angled, so you pull the top up first and slide the bottom off, and voila, you got a gauge cluster. The plastic is trimmed around the gauges, and my plan is when I get all this finished, these painted and everything, good and ready. If you notice, this thing has these little dowels. I cut the glass just to fit just inside those. I'm gonna come back with like a 2-part epoxy or something and put it right in here where you can't see it and just glue this glass. I think I told y'all that like 2 times already, but now I'm actually showing you how I want to do it. And that's that. So now I can move on to actually installing the dash. So, like I say, I just cut some little pieces of metal and welded some nuts or some bolts to it and made it where to work. So now we can actually start fitting the dash into the truck and making it mount and filling in all the gaps and getting closer. So I'm excited that I got to this point, because when I first started, I was racking my brain on trying to figure out what I was going to do, and I didn't have a clue. So all in all, it's very simple, very basic. Sometimes you just got to, that KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. You just got to get in there and make it as easy as possible, but I also want to make it serviceable. That's why all the bolts are welded. They're all on the bottom side of the gauge cluster, so it's easy to get off. So this and this is attached to the bezel. The bezel comes out forward. If I need to take the gauge cluster out for any reason, the dash will be bolted in, and it should be very simple to remove. So we'll just snatch 6 or 8 bolts out of the dash, pull it back. There's the gauge cluster. Take them 4 bolts off. Bam. There it is. But in the years and years I've owned this truck, I've never had to take the gauge cluster out until I body dropped it. So, but I do want to make it serviceable. I've had this stuff where I built it and I didn't really care if it was serviceable or not, and then when I did have to work on it, so that pink truck over there, yeah. So yeah, here we are. All right, also just sitting here editing a little film and realized I was already at 45 minutes on this video, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this one out. We're picking up some steam with this thing and getting this little stuff done that's got to be done before the big stuff can be done. And yeah, so I didn't book any work this week so that I could work on it. So I'm gonna be out there all week, getting stuff done, filming it, and appreciate y'all checking us out. Appreciate the fellas for helping me. Shout out to Kyle, Brian, Donovan coming over, hanging out with us Saturday, and we hung out with them dudes all day long and got stuff done and just stood around BS with them and had a good time. So we're gonna do that again. Maybe one of these videos we can actually work on stuff together. So, but appreciate y'all checking us out.